Yeah, happy Sunday. So I'm opening this hive. Now, this is a long box I have. I wanted to see how the queen is doing, and they're sort of aggravated. But this is also my hive that's a little bit more of a mild temperament. It's not hot or it's not a hot temperament, but a mild temperament, and they don't like being disturbed too much. And it's also the one I don't disturb too much. So here's the pattern on it. It has I don't know if you can see all that, but it has all the you can see all the brood in the and there, and they're doing real good by looks of it. I see brood in every cell. They don't have everything capped, but I see brood in the cells. They are slightly aggressive. I think they might be lacking. No, they're not lacking resources. So, but they're not very happy that I've opened them up. But they're doing pretty good, all full of resources. And then they have decapped some of the brood. I've noticed. So these bees are somewhat these are pretty much mite resistant bees, as they uncap the brood. So when they have if they sense variola mites, they actually uncap the brood. So these are feral bees, um, and I noticed that their pattern is a little different than a pattern of a bee that's not resistant or resistant to variola mite. But they actually uncap the bees later in development, and then I noticed that they recap them afterwards, or they remove them completely. But they're doing well. I wanted to show you that. So the hive is doing well. There is, at this moment, no hive beetles running around or anything like that. This is the other thing I like about this genetics on this bees, is that they're more resistant to the hive beetle than my other hive. My other two hives I got over there, the white hive and the other dark brown hive. Those hives I actually bought from a beekeeper, and I converting them over to non-treatment. So I believe they treated their bees. I don't treat them, so I converted those over to non-treatment. Um, the queen in the brown hive, and the I believe if you can see it there, um, that queen within 3 weeks she failed. So I ended up replacing her, um, and I did notice that the bees, the queen that did replace her, I got from the stock next door, which is the same kind of bee, but she mated with my feral bees, I believe, because that colony used to be super tame, and I mean, they were really tame. They weren't really about they wouldn't come out of the box and boil light or anything like that. They were a really tame bee, and after she mated with the feral ones, I noticed the change in behavior, a little bit more, slightly a little bit more aggressive, just a mild temperament. But they do a lot better against the hive beetles too. So that's what I noticed. That's why I want to continue just genetics off of this bee. They're a little bit more aggressive, but it's not major. It's just a mild aggression. And even though they're flying around and everything, it's not like they want to sting me. It's just they're just flying around. They're not bumping against me or anything. They're just aggravated that I'm opening up their hive. But if you notice, this is a fresh comb that they built next to the old comb that they repaired. The old comb is what I had to salvage this hive from when it got all tore up from the where it got tore up from the feral hogs um, flipping over the hive. So they've actually really doing good. I think I'm only gonna go maybe through one more frame on this side, and then I'll check the other side to see how far down they've already moved across this frames. Since I did try to keep the old comb best I could, washed it all out, had to let the bees rub it out, get rid of all the hive beetle larvae and all the worms. But it looks like she's building up. And this is a new frame I put in here. So this is a newer frame. As you can see, that's the wider cells, and so the comb's a lot nicer. I'm switching out the older frames I have in here, and I'm switching them out to this other the newer style frame. Because before I used to, I would make, I made like just a frame that the board is a lot thicker and everything. It's a lot more sturdy, but it's also, I think she might be on this frame. I see a lot of fresh brood in here. I see eggs. I do see some eggs in here, so she might be on this frame. Let's see if I can see her. She might be, she might not be. So, but there's eggs on both sides, and I don't know if you can see the eggs, but they're pretty tiny. So there's like little tiny grain of rice. Like it's even smaller than a rice grain. But I don't see her on here, but it sure has fresh brood. So she just barely laid in this recently, as I can see a lot of brood that it was just laid. So a lot of eggs. So I'll put this back. And I see plenty of fresh brood. I don't think I need to disturb them anymore on this side. And normally I don't disturb this one too much. I leave this one go, but since all that's happened with the hive beetles on this one here, and everything that happened with all the worms in here and everything they had to deal with all that, I want to make sure that they were coming back strong. And it looks like they're building up strong, and they're coming back strong without, much issues. So they'll probably build right up, and she probably won't have any issues. It's just wanted to make sure she was building up quick, and it looks like she's building up considerably quick. And like I said, the good thing was that at least about half the hive survived when they did get flipped over, and all the oil from my oil pans ended up flipping up onto the bees, so that wiped out half the colony. So I'm glad that they are recovering. It makes me happy that they are recovering, and they are recovering in overall. So as I said, they're flying all around me, but as I said, they're more, like I said, a mild temperament. They're really, even though they're flying around me, they're not really like stinging the heck out of me or anything like that, or stinging the heck out of my suit. But yes, they over over the course of this time, I think I need to smoke them a little bit. They are getting more and more aggressive, and now they're actually striking my suit. So I'm gonna have to smoke them a little bit, as I noticed that they are becoming a little bit more hostile. A little bit more hostile to me. So I don't want that. So I am going to put a little bit of a pollen substitute in here. Actually help them build up a little bit quicker than what they are. I only use the dry pollen substitute, and I put it right on top of the frames. I've noticed that if you use the wet substitute, the wet pollen substitute, the hive beetles like to build into it, and then you end up with a bunch of hive beetles everywhere. So in order to prevent that, I noticed that if I put the dry substitute, the bees will use it, and then the hive beetles really don't bug the dry substitute compared to their wet substitute. So it also calms them down and has them something to eat on, so I don't have to they don't be striking me constantly. So yeah, they've calmed down some. And then close this hive back up, and we'll check the other side, see how far they've actually traveled down the box. I don't want to land on there. I want to be able to close it without squishing any bees, so they can go up in the front, and that'd be okay with them. Yeah. As I said, they mostly will calm down. I'll have a few here and there bug me still probably for a little bit, but once you close the top, they pretty much, calm down and they go back inside. But they just don't like being disturbed. So this hive, I did put empty racks back in here. So the racks in here are empty. Yeah, they still haven't got to this side yet. It's going to take them a while. I mean, they used to be filled out all the way, but it just, with that kind of destruction from the hive beetles, and all caused by the being flipped over, which has caused a negative impact on them. It really set them back considerably. But it looks like they're, I don't know. Let's pull out one of this. They've already started polishing the frames back down. But let's see how the frames are. So yeah, so this side, like I said, yeah, I see a lot of damage where they robbed it all. I had it all robbed out, so it's just empty racks. There's just nothing in them. I did put them back in here though, so they can reuse them. So whenever they get to be able to reuse them, that'll be good. That'll build up on them. I do believe they're halfway down the hive though. So I do have a wooden board to condense the hive down, but I figured they'd be strong enough, and I'm not gonna really have to worry about that. So they got honey all the way down to about. They got some honey in this frame. That's almost middle of the box. Looks to me like I think that's as far as they went. But they got all this propolis down already, so I believe they're going to start using these pretty soon. But they got a ways down already, so that's good in a way. Yeah, they're not liking this. I think I'm going to be done with this hive. They're really not liking me bugging their colony rope. They really don't want me to be bugging them. So this is this hive, and they are recovering considerably, pretty quick too. And we'll just close this one back up and let them proceed to what they're going to be doing without them, without us bugging them. Don't want to be bugging them, so just smoke them off, and hopefully that calms them down. And I'll put the lid back on there, and that should be okay with this hive. So it is recovering, and as I said, they normally don't have any issues with hive beetles. They're pretty real good about keeping them